Hi, it's Robin. I attended the Vintage Computer Festival Midwest in September of 2022, and you may have already seen, I already made one video about it, a sort of tour around the show. But while I was wandering around the show with my camera, I also had a number of conversations with people about the projects they've been working on, and that's what this video is about. This was recorded on the floor of the show, so there's a lot of background noise from our fellow nerds, but I find I'm able to understand most of everything said. I even did a test and YouTube's auto captions seem fairly accurate for it. I talk with 4 different people and I'll put chapter markers in for each of them if you want to skip around. So the people and projects are Jaime, who is creating the Meatloaf Commodore Wi-Fi disk drive emulator, Greg, who is getting his Amiga 1200 to display full-screen video with audio, David, the 8-bit guy, and we'll take a quick look at his latest PETSCII Robots games, and the Commander X16 prototype he brought to the show, and finally Eric and his CBM SX-64 Ultimax project. It's a giant door-sized SX-64 keyboard. Check the video description for links to more information about these projects. So first up, we have Jaime with his Meatloaf project, a Commodore IEC serial floppy drive and Wi-Fi modem multi-device emulator, as it's called on the website. And just to clarify, while his display has a bunch of cables and it's hooked into his laptop and so on, that's just for debugging and diagnostics and demonstration. The actual device can be standalone and just plugs into the IEC port on the C64, kind of like an SD to IEC drive, but instead of using SD card, it can load from the internet or also its internal flash memory. You won't need a laptop or desktop computer hooked up to use Meatloaf.
Okay, I'll start from the beginning. You know, you can load files normally like you would any other SD to IEC or Pi 1541 or a real 1541. It just connects in through IEC serial. This is an ESP32. Say to load something off of a URL, you load HTTP URL // we'll do this first for Meatloaf .cc / I've got a script that does like a game of the day, GOTD, comma A, comma 1, right? You hit enter, and you're watching the monitor over here.
Yeah.
It's showing the data streaming right into the 64 over the web.
And then through, sorry, you said that's an Arduino there?
It's an ESP32.
ESP32, okay.
Yep. Yeah. Got a little bit of visual feedback with the LED blinking, but I'm looking at some other ideas for giving people an idea of how far along the load is, because, you know, on the 64 it's so slow.
Yes.
Doesn't support fast loaders yet. I've got plans for doing that, as well as parallel interface through the user port, so it'll support speed DOS, Dolphin DOS, and all of that good stuff. So, all right, that's finished loading. Run. And
the game of the day.
The game of the day, yes. So you could do some cool stuff with just server-side scripts that switch out whatever program is loaded. And I also have I'm supporting shortcodes. I haven't got the script set up on the server yet for people to register their own. But one of the problems with using retro computers with the web is big long URLs that might have special characters in them that you
can't type, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could URL and code them, but that just makes things a little more clunky. So one of the solutions I came up with is using shortcodes. The codes are registered at meatloaf.cc. Okay. So I'll show just a simple shortcode. Say, let's see, all of the shortcodes just start with ML for Meatloaf.
Okay.
ML colon. Say, you know, let's pack it.
Atari has its 100%.
Oh, yeah, nice.
And that's hitting the server.
widely?
There's a directory of a bunch of games that I've got on my server just for demo and whatnot, and it just matches the first part of the file name. All right, so I just used a short code to load in Miss Pac-Man. Let's run it. Okay, just fine.
Yeah.
Another option too here. Say you're on CSDB, and there's something you want to load there.
Yeah.
I wrote add-ons, or one add-on, then just ported it to all the browsers called Send to Meatloaf. Okay, so you find a link on any web page, any website. You can right-click on that link. Back to home here. This one makes a good demo, or this one is a good demo. It's the Love Cats.
You can find anything on CSDB and then
find the link. There's a PRG file there. Right-click and then send the Meatloaf.
Oh, okay.
So if you click that, it gives you a nice little prompt, queues up the URL, and tells you the command to use to load it. That's just load star or ML star.
ML star, okay.
Now :star 8,1, and then again the stream over there. We see it loading up.
Nice.
Again, I'm planning to have some kind of visual thing on the final device. My icon has 5 pixels in it. This is the logo, but the icon is, you recognize the M there?
Yeah, it's from the Commodore symbol
Yes.
rotated. Yeah, so there's the M.
So the logo is the M with just 5 pixels, 5 colored pixels down the side. So I'm thinking on the case of the final device, I'll have 5 pixels and load them up or light them up for every 20% of the program that's loaded. Something, that'd be a nice little indicator. Okay, that's loaded right from sending the URL with send the Meatloaf add-on and run.
Nice.
And that came right off of the web.
Direct from the web. Yeah.
It's using all standard, just IEC serial interface type stuff. Not only just loading and saving files. Saving is going to take a little more work because I was just talking about this with Greg. When you save something, you want to save just your data, especially if you're loaded from like a web page or something. I've got a few different ideas for handling that. Maybe creating a hash of the URL and then saving it to local flash storage or SD card, and then when you go, whenever that URL is requested, it will check to see if it's local and load it from there rather than from a server where the disk image may be shared and be used by multiple people at the same time. Then you load up your own save game right from flash or SD versus from a server. Where was I going? Oh yes, not only can you load and save, but you can also use standard open input command. You can program with it just as if it was a file.
A regular disk drive with a file. Open a file.
Even though you may be, the 64 doesn't care. It's just seeing a stream of data either way, whether it's going out, coming in. So what we've done is set it up so that you could create a TCP connection from just straight standard basic using a URL.
Yeah.
You open a URL and then you read or write to it with standard basic commands, standard kernel commands. You don't need anything. You don't need a special driver like you would with like RRNet or something. Yeah,
that's what's really cool about like Commodore's engineer. Even though IEC's slow and all that, there's a lot of smart things that they did with it, right?
Yes. Yeah. Everything is a stream. Doesn't care where the data's coming from, where it's going to. Just a stream of data. Even the the directory listing is just a stream.
Yeah, in a way it was very forward thinking, or foreshadowed the internet and also the smart devices.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
It's so amazing. Plug it in and it works. It knows what it needs to do and it works. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done. I'm sharing the Meatloaf code with the FujiNet project as well, and I help with the firmware on FujiNet. Meatloaf is going to remain more Commodore centric, but FujiNet we've gone cross-platform. Got devices in development for started on Atari, and there's Apple II and Coleco Atom, and the Atari Lynx.
Oh, that's really cool.
I found out about FujiNet when Tom Cherryholmes had posted a message in a Commodore Facebook group, like the big one, and he's like, hey, we've been working on this on Atari, and we kind of want to port it over to Commodore, and is that something people would be interested in? I'd already been working on Meatloaf for about 8 months or so, and I found that and went and read everything I could about it and jumped in on their Discord. I was like, hey, I'm already working on that, and it's just like I hadn't made everything open source yet at that point, but I was planning on it, and it just made sense to join these guys. And I'm handling all of the Commodore stuff, and I actually got plans for porting FujiNet over to Coco and Texas, TI-99 4A and stuff too.
Oh, really? TI-99?
Yeah. Well, I want to interface through the TIPI. I want to eliminate the need for a PI, and it'll just be an ESP32 instead. So, but I love these little boards. Pretty awesome.
Yeah. So how did you choose the name Meatloaf?
Okay. Well, I was trying to think of a name, and I didn't want the name to define the device like SD to IEC or Pi 1541. I mean, those are great names.
Oh, yeah.
They define exactly what it is. Yes. I wanted something that was fun, and I was just thinking about what it was that I was trying to create, and I was like, well, it'll do that, and it'll do that, and it'll do that. But it won't do that.
It won't do that. Yeah.
I'll do it. It'll do anything, but it won't do that. And then I was like, Meatloaf.
Yeah, Meatloaf.
There it is.
Mind,
Yes, exactly. So that's
lyrics.
And then there are some other. I was maybe a stretch, but I was thinking, okay, well, the original Commodore design is, we call it a bread bin.
Bread bin. Yeah.
Bread loaf. Kind of,
it works.
Yeah. So, anyway, and Meatloaf is fun to say.
Yes, it is.
So, I want to add some Zoom floppy features as well, because it's talking IEC serial. Yeah. You could plug it into a 1541 and tell it what to do. So you could dump disk images off of that. Of course, it won't be as robust as the actual Zoom floppy, but it'll be something that
basic imaging, like
if you want to archive a disk, and you're not doing it all the time, but you just want some of your own stuff dumped. You're not doing like copy protected stuff or anything like that. But so I want to include some of those features. On FujiNet, there are virtual printers as well.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to use some of that code to bring that over to Meatloaf, and you'll be able to print to a virtual printer, and it'll spit out a PDF file.
Right to PDF.
Right to PDF.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah.
Right into the flash storage of the device, or SD card storage on the device.
Yeah.
The original. This is the original Meatloaf device. It's an ESP8266. That was my first prototype, and it actually has 16 megs of flash storage on it, and it runs a WebDAV server. So on your PC or your Mac, you can just mount the flash storage in the device as like a network drive and copy files back and forth to it, so you don't have to, shuffle an SD card around. It's just there, so you can manage all your files like that.
Nice. So I'm running out of battery here. Okay. Thanks a lot, Jamie.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Greg of Florida and how he got full screen with overscan, 30 frame per second video with audio running on his Amiga 1200.
Hey, this is my friend Greg.
Hello.
He's got his Amiga 1200 here, and he's set up a video demo. Greg, you want to just tell us a little about it?
Sure. So in '94, Commodore created a patent for split DMA to do video and audio. And this was pre-AGA when they filed for it. Fast forward to 2019, and the developer Marcus Shorthand has updated it for AGA, and it's still in development. And I've been following it pretty much since the beginning, and I have found that with a particular alpha, I'm able to exploit its lack of checks and force it to do DMA for widths it's not supposed to do. And And by doing that, I've been able to go borderless, full overscan, and with an updated private controller, I'm using an L-Box Fast ATA, I'm able to get enough speed to do 30 frames a second on an NTSC machine, running in NTSC mode, with maxed out audio on the Amiga 1200, that's 28867, so a little better than 28 kilohertz, and maintain it without dropping frames. But it's raw data, so you've got the way I'm running it, I've got fresh data, fresh palette, every frame, and what that means for me is my video files are, a music video, just a couple minutes, 400 to 600 megabytes a piece.
Yeah.
So one of the other things I'm doing is using a low overhead file system, and for that I'm using PFS3. That also gives me the ability to have large drives. I've got a 256 gig SSD in this at the moment, and my home machine, the one that's still there, a terabyte. So that way I can just go crazy with this, have my own home music video channel. And on top of that, I've written a wrapper that allows me to provide a playlist. It'll shuffle it, it'll turn off the audio filter for me, because I'll forget. And just let it do its thing and sit back, enjoy. It blows my mind. So this machine here, stock except for that drive controller, and I've got an 030 card. That's it.
Yeah. It's cool.
Hi everybody, welcome to Vintage Computer Festival Midwest 2022. Today we're exploring, in Amiga video, the AGA Blaster software. It's a 2022 still in development software written by Marcus Jourdan, and what it is an extension to Commodore's original CDXL patent from back in the early CD-ROM days, where Commodore created a way to do split DMA, to do audio and video from CD-ROM, trying to solve the latency issues. Marcus has taken the original concept, extended it for AGA to support all the AGA modes and the original CDXL modes on your Commodore. The limitations being the speed of your machine and the speed of file transfer and the size of storage that you have. But you can utilize the full facets of AGA as little or as much as you want and create what you want. And what I have done here and what I'm trying to show off today is me taking his software and pushing it as hard and as far as I can. My goal, 30 FPS video, borderless on NTSC, 30 frames a second, with maxed out greater than 28 kilohertz audio. Was I successful? You can watch, see, ask me questions, enjoy the demo.
All right, so here's my mental quick hit list for if people are asking me questions so I don't forget things. So the back-end converter uses FFmpeg, but I've been doing some pre-processing to prepare videos. So if you do this yourself, look into the pad, crop, and scale commands. Also, it's helpful to know -A codec copy to just copy the audio without reprocessing it. And in some cases, FFmpeg will choose bad video rates. So if you can force a video rate, I usually use 20 megabit. I also normalize the audio to -12 dBF using the normalize-audio tool. That gives me a great balance of sound quality versus, and it gives me consistent volume. You can find out about Marcus's project by Googling AGA Blaster. It'll be the first hit you get. I have found, due to various CRTs, it's good to optimize for a kind of an odd aspect ratio. I just came up with that through trial and error.
And that's to get the full board, like a good amount of border?
That's actually to get it relatively consistent from CRT to CRT, because some of these older ones are stretching now, some are a little compressed because they've been repaired and they're not adjusted right, some are spot on. I found this to be the happy medium, instead of exactly 4:3. Now, this also helps because instead of a 320 width, I'm using 384 with a bit of black bar on the sides that you can't see. And that allows me to maintain DMA. That was the key to this speed. and why I'm stuck on AGA Blaster version 0.9.71. So if you want to do this, that's the one you need. Additionally, if you limit your vertical height to around 266 to 268, you'll just hit the overscan limit without having excessive data, so that'll help you. And then as far as speed, really, like if you want 30 FPS, 68030, really any speed will be fine. It's more about latency. That L-Box controller is a big part for me. But you know, anything you have that can do PIO mode 4 at least, or PIO mode 5 preferably.
Yeah.
I use an SSD. The tools you can run on are for Linux, but you can run them on Windows under WSL, which is what I actually do.
Yeah.
And then this version has two features, no center and Y offset. Currently I'm just using Y offset with a -5 value, and that puts it where I need it.
Okay.
And then the tools do support a ham mode, but I've had issues with this not working in this version.
Okay, so you're running 256 colors.
256 colors, but it's a fresh palette per frame, so it really doesn't matter, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And the tools do allow you to do reduced bit frames if you want, which I've done. Like I converted a high quality version of Bad Apple, and I reduced the bit frames.
Okay.
Bit plane, so it becomes a smaller file, but it still looks fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, really cool.
Yep.
Yeah, looks great, Greg.
Yep.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Yep.
And next up is David Murray, the 8-bit guy, showing both his latest PETSCII Robots releases for different platforms and the latest version of the Commander X16.
Hi, David.
Hi, Robin.
Again, here with David Murray, the 8-bit guy, and I didn't know he's got this many versions of Attack of the PETSCII Robots now. Actually, he's got even more, right, David?
Yeah, this is not even a full representation because we've sold out of a number of platforms like the Genesis, and we've sold out of the C64 Combo REU, and some of the other ones. And obviously, I don't even have like the PlayStation Portable here because it's only a digital download. Same with the ZX Spectrum. Yeah, we've got the Atari version here.
Yeah.
This is the Apple II. This is the C64 VIC-20 and PET all in one
deal.
This is the special C128 version.
Awesome.
This is the Amiga.
Wow.
And last one I have here is the Commodore Plus 4. So these are like light copies is what I call them. They're basically just a bag with the manual and the disc in it. And of course I do it because it's cheaper for some people because it's only $20, but it's also kind of reminiscent of how software was distributed back in the early days.
Yeah, like the Jiffy bag.
In a Jiffy bag, exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what the light versions are kind of meant to be, kind of like.
Yeah, and so this is your REU version running on this 64, is that?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
This is the REU version, and it's just basically the same game as the C64. It's just got better graphics and a few extra levels and things like that with the REU.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yep.
So yeah, this is the Commander X16. This is just kind of a mock-up case that Parafractic had made, but the actual main attraction is the board itself, which is the side. We have a special little kiosk that we created just for VCF. It has a number of demos. We've got PETSCII Robots, Super Mario Brothers. We've got a Wolfenstein 3D demo. We've got like this like Breakout. A number of different little games here we can do just as a demo. So like I'll pull up Super Mario Brothers here. There we go. And this is a port of the original game, and it is a near perfect port. It has the music and everything, which we can't hear right now because it's so
loud
so noisy in here. But so this is one of the little games that we're demoing here for the X16. So we're really proud of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yep, thanks a lot, David. Good.
Okay, and finally, we have my friend Eric and his kind of ridiculous CBM SX-64 Ultimax project. He's still trying to get it to work, actually.
I had this idea because my license plate is CBM SX-64, and I thought of maybe doing like an homage on the lift gate for my van.
Yeah.
So one of the things I was thinking about is like, oh, what if there was a keyboard to go with it? and it would like maybe plug into the tailpipe or something like that, you know. And so I was thinking about it, but I was looking for a commercially produced keycap, and I found these little dessert trays. They're little individual serving dessert trays for like weddings and things like that. So they look beautiful when they're hooked up. So so when I found that, then I'm like, well, yeah, okay, let's do that. So this is a hollow core door that I got from the Rebuilding Exchange for $5, and I routed it out. I designed all the puzzle pieces, and the stems, and the switches are 3D printer end stop switches that I modified, but it included almost everything, so that was really nice. And Randy did the bare metal C64, and I really liked it. So what I did was I put the SX ROMs in there instead, so you know it'll come up in SX mode, and so that's pretty much the motivation for doing this.
Yes.
Just, you know, and I had to think of a name, so it's like this combination of words was not yet taken. So it's the CBM SX-64 Ultimax.
The ultimate portable executive computer. So would it be possible to plug this keyboard into a real SX-64 someday?
Well, it's just a row and column matrix.
Yeah.
So as long as you had the pinning out on the other end of the cable correct,
yes,
it would basically work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that'd be really cool one day to see this completed keyboard hooked into a real SX-64, and then your giant car.
Yeah. If I had to sacrifice the Stooge-O-Matic for its cables and power supply. So, okay. Well, here it goes. It's the moment of truth.
Moment of truth.
Either sparks are gonna fly or sparks are gonna fly.
Let's do this.
It would have to fuck up on the monitor.
It's like they always wait until like you go to help one kid, that's what every other kid is.
Alright. Well, obviously it doesn't like this monitor. So we're not going to be able to have the AV. We have to find an HDMI cable now. Okay. So oh, you know what? It has to be configured for this.
Okay. Okay, go for it. There you go.
It's working, but it looks like there's an issue somewhere. There's some of the keys. I wanted to type in "Beware I Live."
Yeah.
Okay, so this looks like either cursor or up down. This is back. Okay, so this is probably...
There's 3, okay.
Okay, so what is this? X is 6, which is purple and red. Purple, so there's a pin swap. What's common between them? Red row, so red.
It's nearly working.
Yeah. So the 6 and the X are swapped for some reason.
Okay.
Might be a pin on the header. Not right.
It's got something crossed somewhere, but
right. Okay.
nearly working.
So that means anything in that row.
Just whenever you get a chance.
5, 2, 4, 6, 8.
Hang out until we're done today.
Yeah,
I'm in no rush, so.
Okay. You have to reprogram? Oh. You got wordy UIO. Pay no
Q
Q.
is not working. So now what did I mess up?
The cursor flashes when you press it, so something's going on.
Oh, the shift lock works.
The light works.
But it says it's a 4. Okay.
Okay, we got it working now.
Yes.
Okay, here it is. The giant SX-64, the CBM SX-64 Ultimax.
You can see that's a real telephone that's there. It's for
Yep.
scale. And that's an 8-inch floppy for scale.
That's an 8-inch floppy, not a 5 1/4. There's a telephone. And there's the keyboard. I have to like pan.
Here's a $1 bill for scale.
So it's about the size of 2 keys. Okay? Like $1.
Yeah.
There's like two and a half keys or switches.
Yeah.
And you want to type, okay, and so you successfully typed "Beware I Live."
Yes.
A Sinistar quote.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's excellent. Congrats, Eric. I'm looking forward to seeing. So you're going to install this like in your tailgate or something like that?
Well, I'm going to probably do something else because I wouldn't want to have this outside in the weather.
Right, yeah.
I'll probably make something for the back bumper.
Yeah.
But this is a hollow core bifold door, closet door. So it has the other half of the bifold door.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that and I'm going to turn that into the front of an SX with an LCD panel stuck behind there.
So like a giant-sized front SX-64 panel.
Yeah. It's going to have a handle. So here's a genuine Fender amp handle. So it will have, it's an SX, it has to have a handle.
Yeah.
And we'll see how much of the weight is actually going to be comparative to an SX-64.
Yeah.
I think the project came under budget of what an actual SX cost back in the day.
Brand new. $995 or $1295.
Yeah, I don't think I spent that much on this. I hope to God I did.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
there's my lock floppy over there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Still loading.
Okay. Thanks, Eric.
Okay.
Okay, that's it for today. Thanks to everyone who talked with me at the show, even those that I didn't record. Thanks again to the VCF Midwest organizers for putting on this great show. Thanks to my patrons. Thank you for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.
Remember when the screenshots on game boxes said Commodore version? Remember when you could find double density 5 1/4-inch discs? Remember when discs weren't pre-formatted for IBMs? You could find 9-pin joysticks. Remember when printers came with instructions on how to program them? Remember when Microsoft wrote programs for our computer? Remember when you could buy disk notchers? 64K was more than enough. When you said I own a Commodore 64, remember when people laughed at games on an IBM? Remember when an operating system was 8K, BASIC only took another 8K? remember